What's good, Greatness Gang? Welcome back to another reaction, and today we're going to be reacting to a group by the name of ATARASHII GAKKO. I think I pronounced that incorrectly. The song we're going to be doing is OTONABLUE. I think I pronounced that incorrectly as well, but we're going to be reacting to this because I told you all to keep recommending me international groups, international artists, international music, anything interesting outside of the typical American stuff that I probably already know. Keep sending it. Send anything, to be honest. But this is what we're going to be checking out. This group makes J-pop, so I don't have a clue of what J-pop really is, but I'm pretty sure I've heard J-pop songs before and didn't know that it was J-pop. But we're gonna come across a mini little informative video educating me on what is J-pop, and if you don't know about it, hopefully it educates you as well before we get into the song by ATARASHII GAKKO, OTONABLUE. Oh, I know I'm saying that wrong, but let's get into the video.
Welcome to Mino Music. Hello, I'm Mino. Today I'd like to talk about what is J-pop. When talking about J-pop, well, Japanese pop in general, you might have a vague idea what it is.
It's Japanese pop?
Pop music made in Japan is J-pop. There's a name like that goes for it, you might think that's how it goes. But to be honest, they aren't classified like that so easily. You see, Japanese people, we have some trouble with it too. For example, there's listeners who like city pop, right? Do you include city pop in J-pop, or do you not include it? It's a tricky question, but generally, city pop would not be included in J-pop. The common idea among people overseas, I probably don't understand it fully, but there's small difference as I observed. So the word J-pop, I like to talk about the background of this word. Firstly, the word J-pop, when was it first used? The pop music until then, since before the war, was known as kayokyoku, which basically means popular songs. I really want to spread this word to everyone overseas to really emphasize it. Kayo, okay? Also, hogaku, which simply means Japanese music. Hogaku is a word with a widespread meaning to say that this is a word that represents all pop music made in Japan wouldn't be an exaggeration. And the smallest classification we can use would be Junhogaku, Japanese traditional music. You know those cheap documentaries about Japan, you see those scenes where they would play Japanese traditional music in an old-fashioned way. That's Junhogaku. So Hogaku is Japanese music in general, and Junhogaku is smaller classification, and it means traditional Japanese music. In Japan, we tend to separate what was made here and what was made overseas, and we have many ways to express those. That's how we are as a people. We call foreign music yogaku, which just means Western music. Most of it is the music from UK and America, because those two markets are massive. But even, say, French music or Brazilian music, or you name it, we'd still call it yogaku. For movies, it would be hoga, which means Japanese movies, and yoga, which means Western movies. That's how we usually separate them. I kind of went on a tangent, but J-pop, who made this word and when was it first used? In early 90s, FM radio station J-Wave made this word for marketing. Instead of group of critics who would give a name to a genre, it's fine to assume it was decided in a J-Wave conference room in the early 90s. It's quite a strategic beginning, and it also doesn't have much of a history. It's only be around about 30 years. Well, J-Wave was a radio station at the time that played stylish urban songs. So it was a station that pretty much only played Western music. which they considered stylish. You might feel weird about this. When they were trying to play stylish music, they only played Western music and they excluded Japanese music, but that was their marketing. But over time, they changed their mind and they started to play music made in Japan also. However, it was Japanese music that sounded more stylish that they'd play. They had that kind of selection. So for the Japanese music that we'd play, let's give it a different name. They had this kind of attitude, right? And that was the type of movement that went on. The stylish Japanese music that they played on J-Wave started to be referred as J-pop. So the J is from J-Wave. So it would create some sort of branding within the Japanese music that
J-Wave pop
created. And in the Japanese music that J-Wave curated, idols and enka were actually cut out. Enka is a genre that Japanese traditional music blended with pop music. And they weren't, sadly, considered stylish by J-Wave. And so the artists who were considered J-pop and stylish by J-Wave were Tatsuro Yamashita, Otaki Eiichi, Southern All-Stars, and Yumin, to name a few. So
Southern All-Stars, they sound interesting.
And in other words, at the time, they were very advanced in the scene. You could say J-Wave's way of deciding things. Music that was high quality was considered J-pop. And as time went by, it's going to completely turn round. This word J-pop expanded extremely around the mid to late 90s, and the meaning has completely changed. All the mainstream Japanese pop began to call J-pop. Because you know, everyone wants to market their music to be stylish, right? And the idol music that was supposed to be cut out actually came into J-pop, so it started to become a word that represents mainstream music. The values definitely changed. So the J-pop we use today has more of that type of meaning, mainstream Japanese pop music. So on the other hand, nowadays, progressive artists aren't considered J-pop. So there's this like weird twisted situation now. This is very important. Those alternative artists, we don't usually call them J-pop. So the boundaries here are kind of ambiguous, but Japanese people are able to distinguish them without thinking about it. So I want to give you a really easy example. It's a weird one, but I think it works. Let's say if Pitchfork was a Japanese media, artists that are considered J-pop wouldn't be their main target, I think. Because they're too mainstream. Kind of like that. So the definition that J-Wave created back then turned out to be the complete opposite. Of course, I wouldn't say there's a bunch of bad artists in J-pop, but has just generally became a word to represent mainstream music. There's a tendency in Japan that the feel of mainstream pop music, if it started to feel old to the audience, they would often just change the name. Before the war, our mainstream pop music was called ryukoka, which means trendy music. And then next was kayokyoku, and afterwards we had new music that was a movement in the 70s, and then J-pop came after that. Well, my personal thought is J-pop can be referred to Heisei era's Kayo. No matter how we change the name, the characteristics of Japanese music throughout the generation is same. So now we call mainstream Japanese pop music as J-pop, but I think it works just as well if we call it Heisei Kayo. By the way, Heisei is the name of an era in Japan. When the emperor changes, the era also changes. So before Heisei era, there was Showa era, just to give you some idea. We use those eras as a measure of time very often, and I kind of feel that the name J-pop might change again over a span of time. I would love to hear what people from overseas think about this topic. Thank you. それではありがとうございます。
Alright, so educated myself somewhat on what is J-pop, the history of it, how they view it now. Very interesting hearing about another culture's music movements. Let's get into the song. elements to it. Like fun Halloween vibe too. I did not expect it to sound like this. Hey, what dance move is that? OTONABLUE. Did I say it right? So wait, are they saying blue tongue? ATARASHII GAKKO OTONABLUE. I think I said it wrong again, but that was very fun. I didn't expect it to sound like that at all. I thought it was going to sound more mainstreamy or poppy, but like I said, it had nice vintage 80s dance elements going on, like some fun Disney Halloween type of thing going on as well. But I really like the video, the dance, the choreography. They just look like they was having a good time. A simple fun song. I don't know what it's about, but the overall music was perfect. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Love you guys.